speaker was breaking into the media industry and created her own media agency, and since then has been working with big name brands such as Vogue, BuzzFeed. Our next door neighbor is Parsons, and also Marriott Hotel. So join me in welcoming our first speaker, Maya Aristimuño.
Hello. Hi guys. So my name is Maya, and I'm so happy that you guys are here. Okay, that works. So, welcome to my TED Talk. Alright. Ever since I was able to hold a crayon, I have been drawing. And my parents have set up a little tent in the backyard, and sometimes we put that little tent in my house. That little tent was my creative little safe space. We drew, painted, and took a huge roll of blank paper and drew a long story the length of it, just to hang it up in our home as a little gallery wall. I was probably just 4 years old, having the time of my life, completely oblivious to my immigrant parents' struggles at the time. I would just sit in my little tent and explore and express my creativity. When I was about 6 years old, in kindergarten, somehow I failed art class. My teachers back then were deeply concerned about my inability to color inside the lines. Each time I was given a coloring page, I transformed the image to make it my own. I added unexpected backgrounds, added new characters, and always colored outside the lines. I wanted to create worlds outside of the lines. And when my parents were informed about this little concern, they laughed proudly and encouraged me to continue expressing myself boldly and freely. However, when my silly little kindergarten grades came in, I had a 2 out of 10 on my report card. I had failed art class because I didn't know how to color inside the lines. The thing is, coloring inside the lines was everything that my mixed heritage family has taught me not to do. Without knowing it at the time, I was born to never color inside the lines because my family wasn't the typical mix. I'm half Indian and half Argentine, and both of my cultures completely contrast each other. I went through my own little identity issues with this later in life, but came out knowing that I would always be different, and I can use that advantage and ability to color outside the lines for other advantages in life. So now, after somehow failing art class, I'm here at this Artistic Trailblazers TEDx event with 2 other incredible speakers here to share with you how to love your creativity and why that is more important than you think. I'm the founder of Maristi LLC, a Gen Z creative agency that drives people to create authentic representation and work to change the digital landscape. I've worked with most of my dream brands already, like all of these. I'm also 19. Thank you. I am also 19 years old, and I started working for all of these brands when I was 15, very, very energized to break into this industry. I did it all with no prior connections to the creative/fashion industry, all as a first-generation American from a family of immigrants. My career journey was exciting and difficult at some points, but with all of this professional and glamorous experience, still trying to balance high school, live a completely double life through it, then enter college, a pandemic, all of that, it was extremely important for me to keep repeating my 4 mantras that helped me stay stable through it all. And it all taught me how to love my creativity. So today, I'll be sharing those 4 ways how to love your creativity, all throughout stories through my entrepreneurial journey to stay on brand with this. So number 1, step 1, write this down. Color outside of the lines. That's the first step of loving your creativity, because once you're brave enough to put yourself out there in any single shape or form, you can accomplish anything. You just have to color outside the lines, go off the beaten path, and take a bite out of the unexpected. Step 2, keep yourself grounded. Okay, so now picture it's time to start middle school and to try something new, color outside the lines just a little bit. I decided to put myself into a STEM school. That meant science, technology, engineering, and math. Very, very not me. But you know what? It only had 2 art classes, and obviously, I hated it. Expected. Sometimes, guys, don't color outside of the lines too much to the point where you're gonna hate yourself. But it worked out for the better because during this time, I learned from my mistakes. All throughout 6th to 8th grade, my silly little life felt like it was falling apart. I didn't fit in with the little white girl cliques. I was bullied left and right. My parents were in the middle of the divorce, going through their own struggles. My favorite grandfather just passed away, and I got a concussion that I accidentally gave to myself. So, I very much also hated being from mixed cultures in middle school because it was mostly the hardest thing to fit in. Everything that I was doing to be Argentine was the complete opposite of me being Indian, and everything of me being Indian was the complete opposite of me being Argentine. I had to suppress my creativity because I couldn't even be my most authentic self. I didn't fit in with anybody, much less myself, and it felt like my little world was falling apart. So, when I was 12 years old, things were getting so bad, my mental health was everywhere, that I took 2 months off of school and got to reconnect with my artistic mindset. Thanks to that little concussion, I had a great excuse not to go back to school for a long, long time. And during that time off, I explored a new small business idea, making and selling phone cases while exploring digital software and the power of images. I definitely was not supposed to be on a screen with a concussion, but you know what? I turned the brightness all the way down when my parents were at work, and I taught myself how to edit. I started drawing again, and I allowed myself to be creative once more. I allowed my mind to wander, and I dreamed of what else I could do. Maybe explore photography, continue playing around with moving images, and I searched desperately for ways to find more art. This little break was when I first became hungry to learn about how to express life through my own perspective. I escaped through creativity. I kept myself grounded by tapping back into my artistic mindset. And when it was time to go back to school, I told the guidance counselors that I would not go back unless I had an independent study where I could learn and teach myself how to do more art. Couldn't tell you what nerve I got from this and where the hell I decided to just walk up to the people and say, I'm not going back to school. But somehow it worked out for the better because I had 2 art classes of my very own that I created myself. That's nothing. That was just me being stubborn because I didn't want to go to school. But in 8th grade, when I was back in school and feeling a little bit more confident, I pitched a photo series to a local gallery by walking right up to the owner and showing her my work. Just like that, I had my first art opening. The concept that I came up with when I was probably 14 years old was a thing called life, immersing the audience and getting them to title each piece. I was all about learning about different perspectives and different opinions at a very young age. Each piece was an animated GIF, and everybody participated. It was very fun. So remember, art can be a method of keeping yourself grounded. Now, by the time I started high school, I knew I needed to come into the city and explore more than my little town could give. I found pre-college classes that I could take on scholarship and now had a reason to come to the city every single week. It gave me a change of scenery and it gave me a change of heart. After classes, I'd have photo shoots with friends and family to submit my work into every single small publication that I could get my hands on. Got a ton of rejection, obviously, but with the ones that I did get published in, I used them as fuel to write emails to the new cool girl photographers that I was inspired by in New York. I wrote emails every day sitting in the back of my high school classroom. And one finally said yes, took a chance on me, and that's how I started working in the fashion industry, just by doing it. It was as glamorous as it all seemed, and it all came with more hard work than you'd expect, especially after commuting for long days after high school. I would do my homework on the train to the city and assist on shoots with Victoria's Secret models, on top of rooftops, feeling on top of the world. I got to learn about how teams work by being a part of these teams at a very young age. Here I learned the importance of teamwork and how collaboration and grounding yourself actually go hand in hand. Teams help you stay grounded. Friends can also help you stay grounded. Reflecting on the small moments in between these big, seemingly huge days of my life helped me stay grounded. This leads me to my next point of how to love your creativity. Step 3, know that only you can create your dream life. But also, know that your dream life will have so much more meaning once you share it. One day, when I was 15 years old and interning, I got asked to be the photographer of a pretty big clothing brand. Instead of just interning on it, I got asked to shoot it. It happened to be on a very cold winter day, and I had a snow day, which meant school got canceled. Instead of going to school, I got to hop on a train and invite my best friend. She was studying to become a makeup artist at the time, so I asked her if she wanted to do makeup on this big shoot. It was an incredible opportunity for the both of us, and collaborating was the best part of it. By the time we got to the shoot, the icy gray New York slush seeped into our shoes and our socks were soaking wet. We were shivering by the time we walked up to this glamorous Madison Ave store. Despite the challenges, we still did the shoot, and collaborating with my best friend was what mattered the most. I used this as a stepping stone to continue reaching out for other work and modeling agencies, shooting for their models and their comp cards. I continued helping out on set, and I've been shooting Fashion Week since I was 15. I've always been surrounded by this it scene. However, in reality, I was always surrounded by teams of whiteness or wealth. But I didn't have much creative freedom. I did not live in the city. I didn't have parents in the industry, and most importantly, I did not know what I was doing. I would stay behind the scenes as a photographer, trying to work and trying to learn, and I had no natural ins to this world. I knew that I always wanted to make a change with my work, and as I was growing into myself and into my confidence and personality, instead of getting carried away by the glamour of all the flashy brands, I decided to make a change. So to go outside of what I was working in, I tried to explore more, see what fit, see what felt comfortable. I went back to coloring outside of the lines, not inside, never that. And I merged my loves of each side of creativity to direct editorial shoots, creating art like this, with more diversity and better crews and casts. I included my friends, and these were some of the very first early works that we've done, and published in small magazines, left and right. Then eventually got bigger names, and I collaborated with everybody that I could get my hands on. It was a team effort, and most importantly, it was exciting and fun, and it felt comfortable. We were able to continue creating opportunities for ourselves wherever possible. This was a series that I worked on with my cousin when our family was going through a rough time, and we found bliss through creating art, exploring a topic that art is a solution to chaos, and expressing it through creativity. It ended up getting shown at another event, and just like that, we keep on building. My teams got our work published by endless cold emails. Nobody handed me that at all. Coming from a family who also was not handed the world, I learned determination from the best. I learned that nobody was going to create your dream life except for you, and it's going to be so much more meaningful once you share it. I loved collaborating so much that after a while working in an industry and an environment that didn't fully look or feel like myself, I realized I had to create my own little safe space again. I continued creating my dream life and sharing it with others, but how could I also provide these opportunities to the other young artists who aspired to do this? That led me to step 4. Make it fucking happen. Whatever that may be for your journey, you better make it fucking happen. So, that's when I started my company, which I incorporated into Aristi LLC, a full-service Gen Z agency that would provide content, collaboration, creative direction, and consulting to brands that needed it the most. I started with young contracted Gen Z teams per project, and I'm still working out the perfect formula to it. I also started MIM Magazine at the early agency stages, which was a print-only youth arts magazine that ended up being completely run by an independent and international team through the art department of my agency. While our small international team of youth artists were busy working on magazines and hosting film festivals digitally, I was able to work on the ad campaigns. It was a perfect mix, and what made it amazing was the fact that we could create opportunities for other youth artists and the community that we built to amplify others' voices. We were making it fucking happen. So naturally, I was super curious how to translate this collaboration into advertising, questioning whose voices to amplify. My next big client was Parsons School of Design, where I was taking classes at the time. I literally just walked up to the program director, elevator pitched her an idea, gathered a team together, and we made it happen. For that one, we got to bridge the gap between kids and established artists with professors showing that art can be what you make it. For the NYU campaign, I got to create a campaign that was called Success Stories, featuring other inspiring entrepreneurs, which ended up covering their entire building. I was 17 years old and not even here yet, but walking by this was pretty incredible. Ever since the start, I've had a mindset of lifting up other perspectives and working with teams with this same inspiring mindset. We were making it happen. I was curious to get a better understanding of how to professionally manage a team, so that's when I started working at another agency to learn. Things shifted because during the summer of COVID, we all realized the insane amount of performativity in advertising and how much power this system really has. During my time there, I watched the Black Lives Matter movement, incredible force, make brands and corporations scramble for answers and responses. So many brands during that time were simply not making it happen because they showed fake support, and for performative activism in advertising became obvious to everybody. People's eyes were opening, but the brands were doing nothing. It felt powerless. And that experience working in what seemed like such a powerful world woke me up to the power of these brands. Why the fuck is capitalism so powerful? How can we find a way to tap into this power that's huge and we all know exists, and use this massive platforms to amplify and take action to the causes that need it? Can an impact agency help with more than one social issue? And how can we make it fucking happen without being performative? But right now, that's my career goal, and that's how my agency is planning on shifting. That's how I'm planning on fucking doing it. I'm trying to work to find a middle ground where we can leverage this immense power that these brands have in our society to shift the narrative and give platforms to the change makers in all aspects who are already making it happen, so their change can be amplified and we can reach a wider audience to take specific steps to action. I want to hold these brands accountable and use their massive platforms for more impactful engagement. My whole life, I've been making it fucking happen. Right now, I need to learn a little bit more on how to do this the right way, to listen to the right voices, to amplify the right voices, so that we can continue to make it fucking happen. But let me tell you a secret, one that I've learned all throughout my journey. Write this one down and underline it and circle it and draw all over this one. The make it fucking happen step of the journey to loving your creativity is definitely to make your goals happen, but to also appreciate the small moments along the way. The make it fucking happen step is realizing that it is just a start. It's not a 1, 2, 3, 4 list. It's a circle, it's a loop, just like life. It is to sit in your sacred space and color outside of the lines, to draw what you want. It's to brainstorm, to recognize the cultural shifts that are happening around you, and realize that you need to do something, in whichever aspect of your life that may be. This make it fucking happen step is to email everybody that you're inspired by again, to listen to the change makers, take a step back, learn from them, and then have so much fun when you go make art with your friends again. It's making a list of your goals, even if that goal is just to smile a little extra today. This make it fucking happen step is to love the little moments and allow yourself to learn and then relearn how to apply the steps of loving your creativity to the other aspects of your life, not just your career. Because only you can create your dream life, so go make it fucking happen, and don't forget to love your creativity along the way. The end.